There we go. All right, clean breaks, another episode. Jay, what's happening?
And not much, man. Another day, another dollar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Trying to squeeze out 15 cents out this shit. All right. So over the weekend, we saw some main events. There was a Jaime Mugia versus Camille Serrameta. There was Jamal Charlo versus what's the brother's name? Juan Macias Montiel. And then there was Naoya Inoue versus Desmarinas. All right, so and don't know particular order. What would you give it on the report card pickup?
Which one? You got which
No particular order.
report cards for who?
Each of
Any of
each of
them?
those
Just the
each of those
winners?
each of those main events.
Uh, I mean, in a way, I give him an A. He's a beast. Ending him with the body shot. That was pretty nasty. That liver shot. He just continues to be a monster. That's his nickname at that weight class. So yeah, I have to get out of A. Jamal, I'd probably have to give a B. And I give him a B, not because I was necessarily overly impressed with the performance, or not because I was disappointed in necessarily in his performance, but I think Montiel came to fight. He had a game plan, he had a strategy. And while I expected the fight to go one way, Maul did kind of he thugged it out. He toughed it out. He showed he could actually, do what he had to do to get the W and fight. And I don't know what's behind Montiel's record. Didn't know a whole lot about him, but I'll follow him a lot more closely. 22 fights, 22 knockouts, but what's behind the guys he fought with those 22 knockouts, we don't know. But it definitely, after watching him take a lot of clean punches from Jamal, it's worthwhile looking at his resume, seeing who he's fought and seeing, what's going on with him. And he's somebody worth keeping an eye on in the future. So yeah, I give him a B, B minus. Munguia, I give an incomplete. Who gives a fuck? Like, I didn't even know that fight even happened. Like, I heard about it, via the zone. I got like an email like maybe a week ago, but it was like, I remember Zermato, whatever his name. I remember that's the guy Triple G fought. I just feel like Munguia is fighting the guy, the tomato cans that Triple G fights first. I just feel like he's like, hey, honey, look, I found one. You got next. So, I didn't watch that fight. I didn't care to cover that fight. I'm not gonna even give that a grade. So yeah, that's why I stand with those three fights. What about you?
I give the Serrameta fight, Serrameta versus Mongia. I give it um a who cares, unsatisfactory, because it's a guy like you said. So Triple G had this guy earlier this year or at the end of last year, 2020. He beat the guy up. No, earlier this year, I think that was. He got some rounds in because he hadn't fought in a while, and then he beat the guy up until the guy pretty much capitulated and the fight was over. And this fight, it was pretty much the same thing. He started out using his jab, trying to make it look like he was a guy with like all this talent and skill. And then after he got tired of it, he just started going to the body, going to the head, going to the body, going to the head. And you just saw Sarah Meta stand in front of him like Afni Ildirim did against Canelo. I'm just going to stand here and, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. I'll take whatever's coming. So I was not pleased with that fight. Um, the other options that were thrown his way were after the fight. I think they mentioned Charlo, Andre, and some other guys, and he said he's here to fight whoever was out there. But then I think he called out Gabe Rosado.
Yes, he did call out Gabe Rosado. That's who he's most likely going to fight. We know this. We know how the Golden Boy playbook.
Oh yes, sir.
And of course, because Gabe Rosado got that exciting knockout beforehand, so that's going to be a hype job. And Gabe deserves his shot. That's why I don't poo-poo this fight. So
So,
we already
so
see
my
that coming from a
problem,
mile
my
away.
problem, my problem with that is Gabe fought a guy named Bektamir. I forgot his last name or
Yeah.
first name, whatever it is. No disrespect to him, but the guy only has 7 to 8 fights. He's a Olympic pedigree fighter. He only had 8 fights against Gabe, who has 40 fights or more. And I don't know what people were expecting. I don't know if they really thought that Gabe was that over the hill for that fight, but he just came out, and from the opening bell, you kind of just saw him waiting that out. I was looking at, I was going, he's looking for the left hook or the right hand. And when he leaned back and he kind of like stood his ground, I said, "Oh, he's about to throw it," and he caught him.
Yeah, he slept
We
him.
yeah, we haven't seen Gabe do that to anybody in a while. I'm excited and happy for Gabe, but again, at the same time, it's a guy that he could have done that to me, and no one would really care at the same time. So
Mhm.
I didn't too much care for that. But Munguia was unsatisfactory. He needs to. He did knock out Juan Macias Montiel. Like that's one of the knockouts that Montiel has. He was knocked out by Munguia, but that's
Yeah.
just two guys, two Mexican warriors going at it and banging and beating the hell out of each other. So there's
Yeah.
nothing to be too much impressed by what I saw in that card. The next card over was the Charlo versus Montiel fight. I gave that a C. I give it a C just because of what I saw. A guy that switched from southpaw to orthodox. He didn't let Jamal clearly have his way. He made it a dirty fight. And I saw Jamal gas out because he doesn't fight that often. The same thing that happened with Devenchenko.
Mhm.
Towards the 7 to 9 rounds, you could see him gas out. Montiel started pouring on the pressure and standing in the gap and taking the punches and then returning fire. I will also say that I know Jamal would get up for a fight with Canelo, but had that been Canelo and he was leaning over his feet and falling into Canelo, he would have those body shots would have been a lot more vicious. Canelo sits down on those types of punches. Montiel was trying to, but Charlo's head was in the way. My question to you is, how come you gave him a B and you gave Devin Haney a C?
So I gave Jamal a B. I'll be honest with you because I actually have higher expectations of Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney's a better overall boxer. And I gave Devin Haney a C because it's not like he was overpowered. It wasn't like somebody beat him to the punch. It wasn't that he was outmaneuvered. It was literally that he fell asleep at the wheel and took off at the end of the round and got hit with the fifth punch of a 5-punch combination from Linares. And Devin Haney's a defensive specialist, and to have that type of lapse, I'm going to be a little bit more punitive with him, just like it's going to be punitive him on the ring if he gets caught like that. That's why he got hurt. With Jamal, um, it is what it is. He had a tough fight with Deverenchenko too. It wasn't as tough as this fight with Montiel. Um, I think he did what he had to do. I think he outboxed the guy every round. I think the guy was a warrior. Montiel hung in there, took some really good shots, gave some good shots. Maul was vulnerable, got hit with too many uppercuts, in my opinion. And yes, he did gas out. But I just think it was to kind of be expected. In a sense, it's not like Maul has the cleanest defense. He does get hit. And he kind of toughs it out and he can fight when he needs to fight. I didn't think it would be that rough of a fight for him, but I did think it would be some exchange and give and go. Devin Haney was dominating. You would think the opposite, right? You think, because he's dominating Linares, he would get a higher grade for that one slip up. But I just have such high expectations of Devin Haney that getting caught by that shot, it wasn't like he got caught with the first, the second, or third punch in that combination. He got caught with the last punch of that combination. And it's a simple fix,
You're
which is why
nitpicking. That's
I am nitpicking.
nitpicking.
I'm nitpicking again. I just said it was a horrible performance. I think he's great, but it comes with high expectations. I'm nitpicking because I have high expectations.
But a
That's just
C,
me.
a C. Come on.
I'm gonna give him a C, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a
No,
C.
Jamal.
I'm gonna
Jamal
tell you,
earned a C.
I'm gonna tell you another reason I'm
Devin
gonna give Devin
Haney
Haney a
earned
C.
that was definitely a B
I'm
performance.
gonna tell you another reason I'm gonna give Devin Haney a C. Devin Haney was hurting Linares to the body with that right hand to the body. Linares clearly showed he did not like it, and Devin got away from that. Again, he's not a one-punch knockout artist. He's not known for power. He has good power. But what I want to see Devin do is when you got a guy hurt in a certain area, he has such a high skill set. Go back to the well and get the guy out of there. Then that 5-punch combination doesn't happen and you don't get clipped in the 10th round. I just think those are two glaring things that I saw. That one where you clearly have a guy who is hunched over, clearly dropping his hands to protect his rib cage because he don't like the right hands to the body he was getting laced with. And then Haney just never went back there. Just never went back there. And that happened like in about the 7th round. And he never went back there. I was shocked. Again, you call it nitpicking, but again, I'm just saying. And then he was ducking, came down, and came up with his hands down and got clipped by Linares. Now, 5-punch combination, being irresponsible at the end of the round. You know, those are two major things. Both of them are easily fixable, which is probably why his next fight, I'll probably end up giving him an A, but I'm going to be a little tougher on Devin Haney just because I just see bigger and brighter things for him. With Maul, and I told you this, and there's no disrespect to any of the trainers. I just think it's more about the relationship. I just think Ronnie Shields has taken him. I just think their journey is at its end, at the end of this course. I just think you look at where Mel was, you look what Derek James is doing with Mel and the evolution of him from a conditioning standpoint and from a boxing standpoint. I've seen more growth in Mel with Derek James, and I've seen growth in Maul with Ronnie Shields.
I hear that and I understand that, but the other part is the activity. We've seen Mel fight more. We've seen him be able to have more fights than waiting 7 to 8 months. Like Buddy is just sitting around waiting for someone to take a fight instead of him just saying, "Hey, get me somebody." Doing what he could do, what Golovkin can do. He could do what Canelo, put somebody in front of me until I can get a belt. He's not doing that. So by the time I knew he was going to gas out, that's no disrespect to Jamal at all, but I just saw it. I said, "Oh, this guy is just going to stand in front of him. He ain't going to just take punishment, but he going to make this a dirty fight." And that's what he did. Yeah. He just showed how much heart he had, and he wanted to see if Maul would wear out, and that's where it went. He switched stances.
The war of attrition is what he wanted to get it to.
He switched stances often. He caught Maul quite a few times with that left hook to the body, a few good uppercuts, and he stayed in close. Those are things that are also that can be fixed, but I've seen this over and over again. This isn't 154 for Maul, and that's the other part about, like, these guys are just as big as he is, and he has to realize that. I'm okay with his boxing acumen. I think he needs to work on that some more, because there are some things that were just a little off, and it just needs work. But his combinations, I would love to see him throw combinations a lot more.
No combinations, and also no variation in his punches. It was the same repetitive punches over and over and over again. No variety. He didn't give. Montiel was able to be in front of him and literally square up and change from orthodox to southpaw, because it was very predictable which punches Maul was throwing. He saw me punch Maul through. I mean, yeah, he took those punches, but he saw them coming. But it's easier to see punches coming when you know a guy's only throwing 2 or 3 different types of punches. And I just think I expected a little bit more there, and I just think with some different training, I just think maybe some more of that can be pulled out of him. The talent is there, the ability is there, but
the other part that bothered me was the fact that he would back off when he would have a guy hurt. Like, he would hit him a couple times and the guy still stood there. And someone was texting me like, "Yo, why can't he get him out of there?" I was like, the dude is durable, number one. 2, he doesn't want to get clipped, just throwing a bunch of crazy ass punches. 3, I don't think it's in his gas tank to throw a fusillade of punches like that. Maul is just used to throwing 1, 2, or 3, and someone goes out. Like, he's not used to standing in front of guys like that. At one point, he threw like a 5 or 6 combination punch combination. And I was just like, he gonna be gassed out. He's gonna be gassed out for doing that.
Again, I still think it's a training issue, because when you look at him, there's no variation even on the force with his punches. it's kind of robotic. It doesn't just flow. Where if you look at Derrick James with Mel and with Earl, they just chopping wood all day long. It's just they're boxing. They're in there. They're outthinking the guy, and they have a strategy. They have a game plan. And the type of game plan they have is it's not where I hit you 2 times. Oh wow, you're still standing here. Now I'm shocked and I don't know what to do. I'm gonna keep doing the same thing. It's okay, cool. You can take some punishment. Well, keep taking this ass whooping until the final bell rings, and
Right.
they just keep chopping the tree down. And a lot of times, obviously, with Mel and Earl, people fall. But I just think it's a training thing where I see where Derrick James, he has his guys number 1 in tip top shape. Number 2, even when they're tired, they, like you say, they don't back off. They continue to chop that wood. And I saw Maul back off, not chop the wood, and kind of, he dug deep in to keep Montiel off of him from overwhelming him. But like you said, there were several times he had the guy hurt, and he just didn't have what it took to pour it on. So that's my concern. And it could be a conditioning. Obviously, there's definitely some conditioning.
It's
things
conditioning.
there.
It's
And
also who he's sparring in the ring.
yeah,
Because with Mel, he already said that. He said Errol's a dog. Like when I
yeah,
pour it on, Earl comes right back with it. So it
exactly.
depends on who's in Maul's gym and who's standing in front of him. And he needs
Yeah,
guys. He should be in there with guys that are bigger in him, or he should be in there with guys that are smaller than him, so he could get his combinations off and figure out how to do it. And the
yeah,
variations of punches, the variation of speed when you're throwing them, and don't throw everything full force. But I give it a C, man. Like I was sitting there just watching it, and I was just like, man, he's boxing, but at some point he's just gonna get frustrated and he's gonna take his foot off he's gonna get distracted, or he's just gonna fade out because the dude would just kept coming forward. And I was like, you have to figure a guy out like that. Like he's pushing forward, but he's not doing nothing. So when he's not doing
yeah,
nothing, you back him up. And you don't
yeah.
necessarily have to back him up with punches, but you back him up using your
The
body.
pressure. Yeah, you use your body. You back them off. You get up on them. You keep applying, pressure, and you have to be, your range generalship has to be on point. You got to control the distance and the range. And I just saw he let Montiel just walk through the front door quite often. But again, he still has an amazing jab. He was
He
really,
does, but I mean, when it get late like that, you could just see
yeah,
like it wasn't there no more. It wasn't pumping like it was supposed to.
yeah,
The
true,
other
true,
part
yeah,
was when he was on the inside with the guy, instead of him waiting on the punch, he was trying to predict where the punch was coming, and he was getting caught. It's like you
yeah,
can't do that. Like
yeah,
you got to let him set up for all that type of stuff. Just
exactly,
just
yeah,
have your guard up and ready. But he was getting clipped with small shots, and he could have easily just backed this guy down,
yeah,
and not necessarily with punches, but again by walking him
mm-hmm.
down body to body and pushing him against the ropes, and then teeing off and getting off the punches that the selected punches that you chose. But I didn't see a lot of that, and he got a C from me.
Yeah.
Nio,
I agree with one thing real quick on with Maul. One quick thing. I agree with you. I think he didn't get up for this guy, and I agree with you. I think Maul is one of those guys that I'm noticing it fights to the level of either perceived or actual competition. That can be dangerous because that's my issue with Crawford, right? Iron sharpens iron, and if you keep cheating the game, or I think Crawford comes in prepared, he's in shape, so it's definitely different from Maul. But I think I agree with you with the sparring. You got to get better competition because it's going to push you and make you better. And I just think he needs a big fight. He
he
needs an
does.
Andrade fight.
He
He needs an
does.
Andrade fight. To me, it's got to be Andrade, Triple G, or Canelo. It's got to be one, and we know it's not going to be Canelo right now. So let's say it's got to be Andrade, or it's got to be Triple G. He needs one of those
It
guys.
has to be somebody he's gonna get up for, because if
Yeah,
he fights another guy like that, that becomes the pattern. That becomes a
yeah,
pattern where,
yeah,
I don't have to really do much. I don't have to put on my
yeah,
best, and you should.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
you
should.
should. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He needs
Anytime
to
you
have a
think that
fear.
the guy doesn't belong in there with you, you should blow him out the water, and you leave the
Yeah,
critics to talk shit. Oh, well, he
yeah,
was supposed to do that. You goddamn right, I'm supposed to do that. Now get me somebody in here who I'm supposed to be in here with, and somebody that can give me an actual challenge. And
yeah.
until that happens, whoever they put up in front of him with the WBC rankings, he should just take him and knock him out the way. Munguia is ranked number 1 or 2. He should take the fight, see if he can get the fight, and mow the guy down. All these other guys, mow him down until they put somebody in front of you that, you know, is a top guy. We all know Golovkin don't want to fight none of these guys.
He's, you know, I can definitely see that. I agree with that. And that's one thing I can say about Canelo. You put people in front of him, he does knock out or knock down in the guys. He said, and we know he's going to do it, but at least he does it.
At least he does it.
At least he does it. And I think Maul is getting yeah. You know what? Now you say that, I agree with you. I'm in my. I'll flip him. Devin Haney B. Jamal C. You're right.
C, man, I'm telling you.
I can see. See, you're right. Now that you break it down that way, what he, you know, because he should have been able to get Montiel. Montiel was there to be hit all night long. And it wasn't even like it was resistance. It wasn't even like he was punching to stop Maul. He was just trading. He was like, okay, your turn. I'm still here. My turn. Oh, you're tired. Oh, you're showing me where I can hit you. Okay, cool.
Right. So let me catch my breath. Here I come again. You know, and that was the thing. I had a big problem with that. It was just like Maul. Put the jab out there, feint the jab, which he did early, but keep it out there. Don't let him see where it's coming from. And when the time is right, hit him with the hard shit and switch it up. Give him variations of it. But that dude, he made it ugly. He made it rough. And if I'm Canelo or any other top fighter, during the fight, I'm going, I'm laughing at him and I'm going, I'll smoke this guy. And then what happens after the fight? Fucking David Benavidez, aka Finna Beat Ass, he goes on the internet or on social media and goes, I'll stop this dude, man.
Yeah. And you know what? He will. He will, because he can't get hit that many times from a Canelo. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. He can't get hit that many times from Munguia.
No.
You know, Munguia does have power. So he's got to really tighten up his game. And I'm going to stand by this. I think he needs to switch trainers. I think he needs new motivation. He needs he needs somebody to give him a different type of look. And I know he wants to do something different because they twins, but they got to step out of that twin shit. He got to figure out what's best for him. And I think when you look at what Mel is doing, when you look at what Earl is doing, you know, set aside the silliness with Mel, which we could talk about another time. Mel and Earl are both, to me, are number 1 and number 2 in all of boxing, in ascending towards going about their business the right way.
Correct.
It's like, he's a top guy. I'm going to be him. Like, look at the fight card for Showtime pay-per-view with Tank. You got who on there? Julian J. Rock Williams. You got who? You got Rosario fighting Lubin. Oh, what did Mel do? He beat all them motherfuckers. Beat them all.
And has no reason to say nothing about nobody. Like, I don't have to talk. My record speaks for itself.
It speaks for itself. And so you look at Earl. Oh, you know, Sean Porter's trying to figure out. Danny Garcia's trying to figure out his life. You know, Keith Thurman blew his opportunity. I don't want to hear nothing about Keith Thurman. Now he's talking about conspiracy theories with Mayweather used Earl to whatever. No. That's some nonsense.
No.
You know, you look at all the other guys, and it's like Earl is doing what he's supposed to do. Okay, Manny, he said it. Where are the belts? Oh, Manny, you in recess, they gave you the belt back. Let's go. And that's a big fight. He's an icon. Let's have at it. And, you know, after that, he's already said, he told Al, make the fight with Crawford. I'll cross the street. So they're going about their business the right way of saying, who are the top guys? Who has the belts? Let me beat them. And they're the guys that have belts that mean something. You know, to me, Mel fought all the top guys that actually already had the belts. Then you had Teixeira that had that belt. And they gave Castaño the shot, and Castaño beat him. You got to give Castaño credit, and give Castaño credit for not playing hide and seek with the belt. You know, like they do over there. Like they do over there at Top Tank. Yeah. You know, trying to hide the belt. He's like, no, I want the smoke, because what he realizes is, number 1, it's going to be my biggest payday. Number 2, what do I have to lose? If I beat this guy, so literally in 2 fights, I could become undisputed. And let's be honest, those 2 fights, only one of them is a real big challenge. And he looked at it and he said, oh, I get paid and I can get all the glory? Right. Why not? I love that attitude. So no matter what happens in that fight, I have a lot of respect for Brian Castaño.
Not just that, but salute to the Argentines, because they are warriors in the ring too. They got the history. They
They
definitely
don't
got a
duck.
history. No.
They don't duck. They don't duck. You know, same thing with Matisse. He took on Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia got that ass, but he didn't duck.
No, he didn't duck.
You know,
Carlos Monzon,
yeah.
the great Carlos
You know,
Monzon.
what's the other one? What's the other middleweight who was really good? The Sergio Martinez.
Maravilla.
Yeah, yeah. Again, didn't duck anybody. So
Marcos Maidana.
Marcos Maidana, don't duck anybody. They just say, hey, I'm here for the smoke. So, you know, big ups to Argentina. And man, I mean, I think it's a great, you know, fight for undisputed. Hopefully, you know, we see what happens with Pac and Earl, and then we can get a you know, an undisputed, you know, and then Bud just have to, you know, understand, you know, what position he's in and understand. Look at a guy like Castano. He had one belt. He's like, oh man, I can be undisputed and really have to go through one serious challenge. Let's be honest. Bud's path to get that belt was not a serious one. Jeff Horn.
Not even that, not just that it was, you made it the way it is.
Jeff Horn put on Amir Khan, Kell Brook, what's Evas Kalvanauskas, give me somebody else. I mean, Lord.
I don't even remember this guy's fights, man.
You know, that's my point. And it's like, okay, let's Errol. Oh, he fought Sean Porter. Oh, he fought Kell Brook when Kell Brook was in his prime and a champion, and he fought him over in England.
In
okay.
England.
Yeah, okay, yeah, smaller guy, but the guy called him out who everybody thought was going to outbox him, and he outboxed who? Mikey Garcia. Oh, and then Danny Garcia's got a big punch. Oh, I see something. Just like Mikey Garcia saw something, he outboxed Danny after flipping over Ferrari. I don't know how many times. So it's like it's levels to it. And so I just hope Bud respect the game and understand the levels. And look, he played the under level card. So you got to take under level pay and be the B side and go in there. If you bet on the arrow, tax that ass, and now you undisputed and you call the shots.
Yep.
So I mean, that actually was his strategy anyway.
Yeah,
so I don't know why he's tripping. His strategy was to face inferior opposition.
I'll let them figure it out over there.
I let them figure it over there, and then I don't have to go through that gauntlet of competition. So then when all the smoke clears, I could be standing, I could take whoever's left. That was his fucking strategy anyway. So
I ain't got to fight all them. I'm undisputed at 140. This ain't 140, pimp.
And don't nobody care about that. And you're undisputed at 140 is like, oh, you beat Julius Undango. It's like, come on, bruh. The best comp he had down at 140 was Felix Diaz. I mean, these guys were like, I mean, it's just, I'm more impressed with Danny Garcia's unified position at 140 than I am with Bud's undisputed at 140.
Danny has some competition at 140, man.
Danny fought way better competition at 140 than Bud did. Take the guys that Bud beat at 140, take the guys that Danny Garcia beat at 140. They're way better.
Absolutely.
So it's like, come on, man. Like, Bud, do I think Bud is a better fighter, boxer than Danny Garcia? Hell yeah. But the truth is, he fought inferior competition. So it just is what it is, man.
Yeah. So, and then we move to me grading Naoya Inoue. I don't know what to say about the kid, man. Like, he's like an AP. He gets AP classes. You know what I mean? Until further notice, like he's just dismissed. Like,
he's a problem.
Yeah, they just put people in front of him. I would like so. By the way, in a way, I give you an A. All right, A plus. Yep. You dismissed from class. Thanks for the apple and all that other good shit, right? I would love to see him fight Guillermo Rigondeaux.
I would love to see him fight Guillermo Rigondeaux. That would be a very, very exciting fight. Right now, I have Inoue in my top 5 pound for pound. If Inoue was to take down Rigondeaux, I would probably put him in my top 3. I am impressed with him. He's made me a believer. He's vicious, but he's smart about his viciousness.
Oh, yes. And
he's very, very precise and very sharp. He's not sloppy and wild. He's very sharp, technically sound.
Man, did you hear the way them shots was landing? Especially to the body?
Yeah.
I mean, thudding shots. It wasn't like smacking, it was thudding shots.
It was thudding. Yeah. He puts guys out of commission, man. He is a monster. Yeah. He's a monster in a way.
Yeah.
So big ups to him. Definitely, I give him an A plus. I can throw the plus on there too.
Yeah.
I mean, dude's a beast.
Yeah, I would, but again, I would love to see him against Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux, that I think that would be an excellent fight for to see, only because of the aggressiveness of Inoue and the master boxing skill of Rigondeaux. Like I think that would be an excellent fight to me.
That would be an excellent fight. And what I really want to see is, and it can happen because I see a mistake that Inoue makes, but it's easy. It can be easily cleaned up with his head movement. How when he delivers his punch, his head is not always off the line, and a guy like Rigondeaux can shoot that straight, quick left.
Well,
and
I get that, but it's who he's fighting when he does it.
That's true.
And
that's
what
true.
he set and what he's setting up for when he does do that. I paid attention to that.
Yeah,
and it's what it's who he's fighting and what's about to happen right before he does it.
But Rigondeaux, again, you're talking about a southpaw. Rigondeaux would give him some trouble, give him some problems. That would be a good fight. That would be a good fight. But Rigondeaux, only, I wish it was. I would love to see prime Rigondeaux as opposed to old man Rigondeaux. That would be even more of a battle.
I hear that, but I think he's so well reserved because it's not like he's been in a lot of wars. Rigondeaux.
That's true.
He hasn't been in a lot of wars, and nobody wants to fight him because of the embarrassment that they have to go through when they get in the ring with him. Like he just makes you sit on a yo-yo at his wheel, and when he's ready to hit you, then he opens up with one shot.
That's the thing. The scary thing is that he makes you miss and get you off balance, but then he hits you, and he hits you with something that hurts you.
Yes, and Nonito Donaire knows that very well. I think he broke his jaw during that fight.
Yeah, well, he took step aside money for the Nonito Donaire and the Joel, what's his name? The other Filipino guy.
I know you're talking about, Casameros or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I heard they're gonna fight August 14th.
Yeah,
is what I'm hearing for that fight.
He was allegedly sick. I don't know if he was actually sick or if he actually stepped aside, but that's what I saw the report.
They said he stepped aside. Yeah. They took easy payday.
I wouldn't have done that though. I wouldn't
have either, but Rigondeaux, we don't know his financial situation. He's like, who knows what the deal is? Deal could be, I'll take step aside money and I still get the winner of the fight. So he's like, maybe I get 2 paydays, one, and I only got to work on one.
Yeah, I mean that would be beautiful. I think that, man. I just want to. I like watching Rigondeaux, man. I just like watching the guys. I think it's high level skill, and most people don't like it because, as we know, they're casual fans and they don't understand what it is that they're looking at. But Rigondeaux is a master boxer. His defense is excellent, and he's even when he's putting his hands out there, when he's pawing, people are like, "Oh, he's doing that because he's playing." Like, no, he's not. And I told somebody, I was like, watch when he does that. He's basically saying, this is the distance from you to me to where this punch is, is gonna hit you, and you're gonna walk into it. I just have to figure out the correct timing and distance right before I hit you with it. So
that's all he's doing. That's all he's doing. It's like like a cat on the floor looking to hop up on the table. How you can hear them, they're calculating. He's just calculating it for you to be at the right spot at the right time, and then bam, he shoots that straight left hand.
And that's it. And he's done that to everybody. And he beat the shit out of Nonito Donaire. Well, not beat the shit out of him, but he hit him with some excellent shots. He did. Messed his face all up. But I can't wait till he fights Nonito fights Casameros or whatever it is, because I'm probably saying it wrong. And then the winner of that will fight Inoue. So all that shit is gonna be fireworks.
Yeah, it is. Definitely gonna be interesting. A little heat in that division.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, I'm gonna let you get off here so you can go ahead and get to the game. I'm about to start chopping up some videos and everything. Appreciate you, my guy.
All right, no doubt. Talk to you soon.
Yep.